Well, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to take some time this week to talk about a few things that are going on in the shop. We got some more channel stickers. I've got some projects that I want to share, and a little bit on some new acquisitions for the shop, both in some gifts I received from my family as well as some auction buys. Work is continuing on the Bridgeport. One thing I did do this week was I put an indicator on the main base and ran the table left and right and forward and back just to see if there was any kind of deflection in the table. I don't know if this necessarily tells me anything other than that particular spot on the mill always has a flat surface. I don't know, any of you that might know an answer to the effectiveness of this series of tests, leave me a comment and let me know if this is a valid test of maybe the precision of the machine, or if this is just misleading. Maybe there's another way to check to see whether or not the table's in, or the mill itself rather, is in the shape that I'm hoping it's in. We got some more stickers from some YouTube creators. The first one is Rustinox. He's from Belgium, has a small machine shop, very entertaining, and is proof that you don't need a lot of big machines to make things. He has a lathe and a small shaper. The next one is from Outside Screwball. Chuck is in California, and he sent me 3 different kinds, and they're really unique, each one. But my sticker board is kind of small, so I really only have room for one. So I went ahead and picked the one that I like the most, which is the one that kind of looks like a dial indicator. Next is Harold from the Amateur Redneck Workshop, or more currently being referred to as ARW. Harold hosts a weekly discussion with other YouTube machinists, content creators, and the topics can vary. It's a live chat every Sunday. You have to check them out. I kind of cheated on this one. I've never had any communication with Tony from This Old Tony, but I wanted to support his channel. So he has a Teespring shop where you can buy shirts and his stickers. Next is Billy Huddleston with Knox Machining. Billy works with a local makerspace out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and he also participates in that roundtable, the Amateur Redneck Workshop. And here we have the sticker for Matty's workshop. Matty's in Australia. He also sent along this bookmark that's got like a hologram 3D thing going on in it. My wife is a avid reader, and this will be great for her. Thanks, Matty. And here we have Foxburg's Fabbercobblin. DJ, I think, lives about an hour or so from me on the other side of the border into Pennsylvania. Like me, he likes big old machines. Unlike me, he actually has room for them. Just before I was going to publish this video, a couple more stickers came in the mail, so I had to add them. This is the Swan Valley Machine Shop in Australia, Max Grant. Max also has some pretty good sized machines that he's building a new shop for, and has a lot of interesting projects, making tooling extremely entertaining. And last and certainly not least is one of my favorite YouTube channels, Mr. Pete Tubalcain. Mr. Pete is just a wealth of knowledge on machine shops and machines, and he has a variety of different content, but I learn a lot just by watching his videos. I'm looking forward to adding more to this collection. And this is a new project that I've been working on. A little humor inspired shirt designs that express my love for vintage machinery of all kinds. I started designing these, with the tagline, "I'm not old, I'm vintage," and then finding some, vintage artwork, whether it be for an old lathe, or in some cases an old vehicle like this 1940s era Jeep. I've got a few others like this K&T mill, which I actually created this from a photograph, or this one which is a smaller lathe. I'd like to do more of these. I've got some other ideas, just need to find the right example that I can create the illustration with. And if you're interested in one of these, they come in a variety of different colors and sizes. There's a link in the description, and if you use the coupon code YouTube10, you'll get 10% off. We have a few things here that came from my family as gifts. These are flexible ratchet extensions. I had not seen these before. I thought these were pretty neat. There have been times in which I've needed to get into a tight area in which a normal extension wouldn't work. And this one right here is really kind of cool because it transfers the force of the ratchet laterally. So it's really good for getting into some very tight spots that you normally wouldn't be able to. I've always wanted a set of transfer punches, so this was a nice surprise to receive. Basically, it's like any other center punch, but they all have different diameters. And so if you have a hole that you need to transfer that location to, piece underneath, you choose the appropriate size punch, tap away, and now you have a place to drill. This was another gift. It's a keyless chuck with an integrated R8 shank. Once I get the mill up and running, this will certainly come in handy. I'll have to check its run out and all that, but it looks like it's built fairly well. I am a welder, certified, although not by trade, and I really like TIG welding. It's my favorite. One of the things on another YouTube channel, Welding Tips and Tricks, the instructor on there uses these Pyrex glass cups on his TIG torch. And the way he explains it is it really makes the visibility of where you're trying to weld that much better. And I sometimes have issues with seeing the weld puddle and where I'm going. And so these will definitely be put to use. They just slide on. You use this little rubber O-ring, and then you slide on the cup. I'll have to do a better job of doing this when I actually use them, but I'll be able to see now through the cup. My vision won't be blocked. And kind of going along with that theme, I received this MagMate, which is a basically a torch holder with a magnetic base. I can put this on my welding table, and it's got slots cut into it where the TIG torch can either fit in a couple of different ways, and it can also be used to hold a MIG gun. And I also got this set of Schar's insert tooling. There's 7 different inserts and tool holders, including some right hand, left hand facing, a threading insert, which I used recently to actually cut my first threads. Another member on the Hobby Machinist forum had a bunch of tooling and stuff that he was giving away, and so he offered it to me. And included in there was a bunch of taps and some other small things, but part of it was what I believe is the main body of a Dumor 44 tool post grinder. I'm hoping that maybe someday I might be able to cobble enough parts together to build a tool post grinder for my lathe. A while back, I picked up this Federal dial indicator in a bunch of junk at an auction, and it wasn't working right. So I sent it off to MR Tool Repair, and Mark did a phenomenal job of putting this dial back into operating order. It is perfect, and the price was fairly decent for what he charged me to repair it. So I wasn't going to be shy if more of these came up, like this tense indicator. It's a bottom plunger, doesn't work at all, but hopefully he'll be able to fix that. Here's another tense indicator. I think this one's dirty. It's just really slow to return. Another, this is another one that's half a thousandths. This is another tense indicator that's just slow to return. Might just be dirty. This one's missing the crystal. A lot bigger. It's like 2 inches across. Half of a thousand precision. And then this big boy here is 3 inches across, but it's a 50 millionths indicator. All of these came from a tool grinder, so I'm not surprised at the level of precision. But considering I got all this, including this Brown and Sharp that's missing its crystal, for $20, I'd say I have some room to invest in getting these repaired. These are just a couple of small things that I picked up again at an auction. Paid just a couple of bucks for a couple of center drills, and a few dollars more for this set of left hand or right hand internal carbide threading inserts. Now I just need to get a holder for it. A more recent auction purchase included these round over end mills. I don't know if they're garbage or not. They don't look great. They certainly aren't new, but I'm going to have to wait to get the mill up and running and have something to work on. It included these 3 dovetail cutters as well. These actually look like they're okay, but again, I'm not going to know for sure. A little bit of rust on them until I get them in the mill. And here I have a good handful of chamfer bits. This includes, what I would consider a traditional chamfer bit, and then a number of these zero flute chamfer bits in various sizes. I also found these magnetic indicator stands. There's 2 of them here that you can turn the magnet on and off. There's one that's a permanent magnet. And then there's this standard stand, I guess you would call it, with little precision adjust on it. There's no brands on most of these except for the push button magnetic one. So I have no idea what make they are. I've been keeping my eye open to see if I could find a height gauge at any of these auctions, and of course a lot came up that had these 4 different height gauges. This one has a couple of resettable digital indicators, which I thought was kind of neat. This is a traditional dial one, although the crystal is missing off of the dial. And the only marking on this one is that it was made in Japan. I don't see anything else on here that would indicate as to who that maker was. Same for this one, no indication of who made it. This one had an indicator attached to the end of it rather than a piece of carbide. It's calibrated in both inch and metric. I assume this is an import, but again, no idea who made it. And this 24-inch one is made by Brown & Sharp. I did find that. They're all pretty dirty, but I suspect they'll clean up just fine. And for whatever reason, I bid $2 on a box of open-end wrenches, not knowing how big they were. And I think the biggest one in here is 2 inches. These are some pretty good sized wrenches. Will actually come in handy. These are the sizes that I need for some of the suspension components on my Jeep. So it'll be nice to be able to toss these in the back of the Jeep for when I'm going off road. I'll have a Jeep only set of wrenches that I can carry with me and not worry have to dig them out of my main toolbox before I leave on a trip. And just before I publish this video, I spent some time cleaning up 2 of these height gauges. This one right here cleaned up really nice. I do need to replace this hand wheel. I've got one 3D printing in the background. This one turned out to be a Canon, K-A-N-O-N, made in Japan. I do have a new crystal on the way. Well, that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed hearing about this update. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thanks for watching.